気にしない気分は最高だけどびっくり世界がどう
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 7 of The Spy Who Loved Megaranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Denji Sentai Megaranger. Every week we watch an episode and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. Had a really nice day. It's beautiful weather out. Took a walk with the kids.
Yeah, nice and sunny today. This week, earlier in the week, there was a little bit of snow drizzle and some freeze warnings.
There's a freeze warning for tonight. Actually, it's real dumb and lame.
And I think by Saturday, it's going to be in the mid-70s.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm very excited for that.
What is interesting, Dave, now that I'm spending a lot of time at my desk, is that I have remembered that on my desk faces, like, there's a narrow alleyway that runs right next to my house.
Yeah.
And there's, like, on directly the other side of it. So basically, like, what I see when I look out my window is a brick wall.
Yes. Yeah, it's not a great view.
Well, except now that we're getting later in the year, there is some ivy that creeps along that wall.
Oh, well, that's a delight.
And so, like, I can't see it through my window yet, but there is a mirror.
But you're getting there.
There's a mirror next to my window, sort of like, a 90-degree angle. So if I look in that mirror, I can see day by day the ivy getting closer and closer. So me finally getting like a little foliage right out the window. It's the little things these days.
I was gonna say, you gotta find it where it is, man. Oh, I love ivy. I love ivy.
Yeah,
I mean, except the fact that it's an invasive species and it's a real bear to get rid of if it gets into your yard.
Well, Dave, it's not my ivy, not my brick wall.
There you go.
But it's very nice. It looks very nice. It's nice to see. You know what else is nice to see, Dave? Nice to watch. Episode 7 of Denji Sentai Megaranger. It is called What's This? The Clingy, Bothersome Girl.
Yeah, it's a real good episode.
It's extremely good. It was written by Naruhisa Arakawa. Its original air date was March 28th, 1997. You can, of course, watch it on shoutfactory.tv or on the DVDs, should you have them.
Yeah, honestly, man, I'm just kind of waiting. I'm assuming they're going to have to drop a clunker, like, at some point, but so far...
That's going to be another couple of weeks at least. I can tell you that, but it's certainly not this week, or next week, or in a few. But Dave, we are going to talk about that, but of course, first, Dave, okay, normally, of course, as always, Shining in the Heavens, there's our officially award-winning opening segment. But you know what I was thinking a lot about, Dave?
What are you thinking a lot about, Matt?
I was thinking a lot... Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yep.
And once a month, on Wednesdays, typically speaking, I go to Pizza Club.
Yeah, you got a jacket and everything.
I got a jacket and everything. I got special pizza socks, Dave. I got an enamel pin that says Pizza Club. It's
a whole thing.
We didn't have them made. I just found it on Etsy.
Do you have a hat? I feel like you should get a trucker hat.
I'm not a big hat guy.
No, I know you're not, but once a month.
Anyway, so I've been missing it. We did sort of like a Zoom call Pizza Club last month. But I'm just used to going out to pizza a lot, and I haven't been, and I've really been missing it, and I've really been thinking about pizzas that I like. So I thought that this week, because listen, we've already won the official opening segment award, at least 3 out of the 5 years that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, Dave, it's probably in the bag. I'm pretty sure we're gonna win next year too. I think 5 stars has got a good thing going.
No, I hear you. But just doing the same thing, it feels like punching down, honestly. You know what it is? It just feels like having established dominance, just doing it over and over.
Right.
And
now
over again.
we're just rubbing other podcasts' nose in the dirt.
It's almost a little tasteless.
But you know what's tasty, Dave? Is pizza toppings. So what if we do a segment where instead of 5 stars, we do the top 5 toppings. The top of the tops, Dave.
Top of the tops. New segment.
So, okay, Dave, let's get into it. Let's get into this new segment that I think we should call Top of the Tops.
And now it's time for Top of the Tops.
For your pizza!
Okay, Dave, what is your number 5 pizza topping?
Okay, my number 5 pizza topping. It's interesting that you should bring this up, Matt, because we didn't discuss it earlier, but I was just kind of thinking about my top 5 pizzas.
Interesting. That you would randomly be doing that without any prompting.
It is wild, yeah. It's actually pretty crazy that you would spring this on me, because I did have 3 fabulously exciting stars, like, ready to go.
Well, there's so much going on right now,
There's
Dave,
just
in all
so
of
much
our
going
personal
on.
lives.
I was gonna say it's hard to like pick and choose.
I mean, I got this
packed
Ivy
schedule.
thing going on.
So my number 5, Matt. I don't have a Twitter, so you can't at me. But like, don't spiritually at me. I'm saying pineapple bacon.
Ooh.
I'm not a pineapple ham guy. Here's why. Ham doesn't get crispy and crunchy enough. So you've just got soft pineapple, soft cheese, and then soft ham. Bacon gets like crumbly and crunchy, and then you've got the pineapple. I used to not be a pineapple on pizza guy, and it's still not an all the time thing. But if somebody shows up with pineapple bacon pizza, like I'm into it.
Well, Dave,
I am into it.
You may be interested to hear my top 5, my number 5 on my top 5 pizzas toppings. It is this combination: jalapeno peppers.
Okay, I'm already interested.
Pepperonis.
All right.
And pineapple.
Huh. That is an interesting combination for me. Break that down. Well, I don't know that I would pair pepperoni with jalapenos. Well, I can see pepperoni and pineapple.
Well, pepperoni and pineapple. Let's say, okay, so pepperoni, pineapple, and peppers. Jalapeno, specifically.
Yeah.
So you get the heat from the jalapeno, you get the salty zestiness from the pepperoni, and then you get like the sweetness that sort of cuts and refreshes, like cuts the saltiness and the zestiness from the pepperoni, and also sort of like is a bit like, calming and refreshing from the pineapple.
Yeah.
I find it to be a very pleasant flavor combination and sensation combination.
Now, I should say, regarding pineapple, this is very much, I think, a scenario in which, you know how, like, people who are extremely attractive can get away with things that if you weren't extremely attractive would be, like, very creepy, right?
Okay.
I feel like pineapple on pizza is very much the same way. Like, it's got to be very good pineapple. Like, you need to have you cannot skate by on low quality pineapple, in my opinion.
Now, man, I gotta say, Dave, I don't agree. Like what I just said,
good?
Pepperoni, jalapeno, and pineapple, that's my Domino's order.
No kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it, but I want it to be very good pineapple.
In the same way that, like, okay, I would like a mushroom pizza with an extremely good mushroom on it, but I don't like a pizza with a kind of good mushroom on it. I would actually prefer a pizza with, like, those crummy, like, canned mushrooms than a pretty good mushroom.
No, I'm 100% with you. Or the kind of shrivelly, dried up ones. Yeah. That's where I'm at. I actually am not particularly interested in a really good mushroom on my pizza. Like, if I have access to really good mushrooms, there's different things I'm going to do with them. I'm probably not going to put them on pizza. What, Matt, is your number 4 topping?
Dave, number 4 topping, this is not so much a, like, full thought as it is just like, here's something that is really good on a lot of pizzas that does not often get put on a pizza. And Dave, that is a fried egg.
Love a fried egg on a pizza.
Love a fried egg on a pizza. The first time, I've had it a few times. There's a place over by you called Vero that does extremely good pizzas that have eggs on them.
You know, astonishingly, I have lived in this neighborhood for like 10 years. I've never eaten there.
Once you can get out, you should. Vero is extremely tasty. Or if any of you listeners are on the east side of Cleveland, Vero, one of my top east side pizza picks. But yeah, an egg on a pizza, like the pizza's mostly done, and then they just like crack an egg on it and put it in the oven. And then it just sort of like cooks in the middle. So when you cut it open, you get like some runny yolk on the pizza. Super good.
Yeah, do love a runny yolk. I'm actually really excited. I have recently managed to turn the twins onto runny egg yolks. Like in the past, they've been kind of resistant, but I've sort of been working them around like slowly, and now they're like, yes, we like runny yolk. And I was like, it was a good moment. It was a proud dad moment.
There is one of the pizzas at Vero that has egg on it, but also has and this is something that's actually I may bring up later on a different pizza, a light drizzle of honey.
Interesting. I don't know. I was going to say I don't know that I've ever had that. I do know. I haven't.
It's not something that's good on all pizzas, but like a light drizzle of honey on a pizza, like you
can work.
It can work.
I can see it.
The thing is, you don't necessarily taste the honey itself. You're more just like getting some residual sweetness that contrasts with the other flavors on the pizza.
No, I got it.
Works especially well.
I can sort of envision it.
We'll come back to this on my number 2.
In my mind's tongue, I can.
Ugh.
Yeah. I was about to say my mind's eye, but it's like I don't have anything to do with it. It's my mind's tongue.
Okay. Well, Dave, let's stop using that phrase, and you tell me what your 4th pizza is.
Now I feel good about it, Matt. My number 4. It's also a little bit unusual. It's the pierogi pizza.
Ooh. Okay. Now.
Yeah.
Here's
what you got to. Now, first of all, if you're envisioning a regular pizza with red sauce and cheese and pierogies on it, that's not what I'm talking about.
This is the clarity I was looking for, because I have had that too. Not a red sauce, but a white sauce, I think.
That does not, frankly, sound very good.
It was not.
It
was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, here's the pizza that I'm talking about. I've actually only ever had it in one place. It's a Southside bar in Pittsburgh called Mike's.
I think it was Mike's, yeah.
Anyways, here's what it is. It is a white pizza with just, like a garlic and oil sauce. And then in lieu of toppings, there's like a thin sheet of mashed potato and then cheese and then just some raw red onions. And then you cook it like a pizza. So it's basically like a giant open-faced pierogi on pizza dough instead of like pasta dough. It's extremely good.
It's shockingly good.
Yeah, like if you were hearing what I said, you're like, oh, that sounds kind of weird and heavy. You're probably envisioning too much mashed potato. It's killer. Matt, what's your number 3, bud?
Dave, number 3. Here's another ingredient that you can toss on probably more pizzas than you're already doing. Is a pesto. Now
Matt, I'm going to tell you, we didn't talk about these before we did it. Pesto is also my number 3.
Pesto is very good. And here's the nice thing about pesto, Dave. You don't have to make it out of basil.
You don't. You can do... I should say,
often
basil
you
is
will.
my favorite. Yeah, basil is my favorite pesto. But you can do pesto out of almost anything. You know what's really nice? Weirdly, carrot top pesto.
I don't think I've ever had
Not
that.
the comedian.
Sure, right.
That would be weird.
There is on
a number of levels.
One of my favorite West Side pizza joints, Il Rione. They have a pizza with an arugula pesto.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Super good. They've got another pizza that just has like fresh arugula on top. Not a ton, just some. The thing about that pizza is that it's very good when it's fresh. It is almost better the next day, because the arugula has like never quite fully wilts because they put it on after they cook the pizza and it comes out of the oven.
Now, are you saying a red sauce pizza with like pesto on top as a topping, or pesto instead of the red sauce?
Dave, honestly, both.
I'm with you on both. I'm just clarifying.
The one at Orione that uses an arugula pesto is a red sauce pizza. It's called the green pie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Super good.
No,
it also
that makes
has
sense to
fried
me. I feel
sage
like
leaves on it.
I feel like putting a ton of arugula pesto might be... I feel like that's a flavor that goes a long way.
It's in like blobs on the pizza.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Specifically, I think for an arugula pesto.
Anyway, Dave. Oh yeah, so your 3 also is pesto. Very nice.
Well, it is. My number 3 includes pesto. There is an additional element, and it's actually, I thought of them together, but I think it's actually sort of in your category of things you can put on more pizzas and probably aren't. Ricotta cheese.
Ooh.
Yeah, like some dollops of ricotta on a pizza. Not a lot, because it's a very creamy kind of heavy cheese, but a little bit here and there, particularly if you are having it with something that's like really flavorful, like pepperoni or sausage or jalapenos or something. It's great. It's got a beautiful texture and it kind of browns on the top. I think a little cracked red or a little black pepper on there. It's excellent. Excellent.
Okay, Dave, then what is your number 2?
Okay, honestly, man, I know we've had like a fair amount to say about all of these. My number 2, I don't have anything to say about it. It's not even terribly interesting. I just really like a pizza with sausage, like Italian sausage, onion, and roasted red pepper.
Love that.
Like there's no commentary on that. It's just a very good pizza.
It's a great combo. That is another like. Actually, I usually go with green pepper instead of roasted red pepper.
I like green pepper or fresh. Red pepper is fine, but if I have if roasted red pepper is available, that's what I'm going to go for.
That is another one of what I think of as just like a whatever like delivery pizza is around you. That's a great option.
Yeah, like you're going to have trouble going wrong with sausage, onion, and pepper.
Like I'm not going to necessarily get that if I go to like the fancy pizza shop, but like again, that's a like. If you're stuck with Domino's, that's a great Domino's order.
Yeah. So Matt, what's your number 2?
Dave, my number 2 is, it is specifically, okay, it is the idea of spiciness on your pizza. Now, this can take a few different forms. This can be like...
Your list is definitely like far more conceptual than mine.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Dave, I eat I go out for pizza a lot. And so, although I do have favorite pizzas, what I more have is like things that I look for on a menu that like jump out at me. So like, for example, there is there's one of these at Vero. There's one of these at there's a place called Saucy Brew Works that's not as good, but it's pretty good on the west side. Again, Il Rione has another thing like this where it'll have like a spicy salami and like some like Calabrian chili on there.
I dig it.
The one at Vero I think has a spicy salami, like slivers of jalapeno, and a little bit of honey drizzle. Which like
that sounds excellent.
Dave, it is so good. Okay.
All right.
We've been talking about this for a while. What is your number 1 pizza?
Matt, I'm very curious. If we have the same number 1. I really hope we do. I'm not pinning too much on it, but I think it would be really great. My number 1 is buffalo style pepperoni.
Dave, I was thinking about that. It actually did not make my list because I wanted to go a different way with my number 1.
Okay. So So I've done a little research into this, Matt, because I can't find any pepperoni that does this. This is called, by the way, if you're looking to know what this is, the colloquial name for it is cup and char pepperoni. And there's a reason, Matt, that you can't just go, like no pepperoni you try to use at home works. It's because it's a very specific pepperoni that is only made by one company.
Okay.
That invented it in the 70s or something, like the 60s or 70s, and they're based in Buffalo, and they are called Battistoni, Italian specialty meats, established 1931. And it was like an Italian immigrant, and he lived in Buffalo, and he started selling this stuff, and he invented this recipe. And until fairly recently, like, it was not available in stores. Like, they didn't do public orders. They're like a wholesaler.
Okay,
right?
so like you could only buy it if you were a pizzeria.
Yeah, right. So like now I did find it. They will ship it to you if you want it. But yeah, it's this very specific type of pepperoni. It's got a very small radius, and apparently the reason that it does this is it has a natural casing. So when the pepperoni cooks, you lay it flat on the pizza, and then when it cooks, as it heats, the casing shrinks. All right? Mm-hmm. And that causes the pepperoni to like cup up.
Yeah, like curls up, yeah.
It curls up, but it makes a little bowl because it's curling, it's curling all around the radius. And then the top of the pepperoni chars a little bit because it's away from the rest of the pizza. And so the heat of the oven, so it's like a little bit crunchy and charred on the outside, and then it's chewy in the middle of the pepperoni.
Well, sure, because what happens
like
is that like as the pepperoni cooks, since it's curled up, the grease can't like go elsewhere, so it gets trapped in the center, which goes further, like keeping the center part like softer than the crispy part.
Yeah, and then you've got this little cup of, oh man, it's bonkers good. It's very, very good. And I think we've mentioned it before. And there's a specific pizzeria in Buffalo. It's called Bocce's. It's the best pizza I've ever eaten. Matt, what is your number one?
Dave, I feel like this is a bit of a cheat because it's barely a pizza topping. It's just a margarita pizza. Just like that's
a pizza topping.
Just like a straight up margarita pizza, like some basil on top, like some good basil on top, maybe a little oil, maybe a little garlic in there or something. But like a solid margarita pizza is just like unimpeachable. And in fact, it's one of those things that having gone to a bunch of pizza places, the margarita pizza is always the control pizza that we get, right?
Okay.
So like
that makes a ton of sense.
Because it's on almost every pizza menu. And if someone can make the margarita pizza like really delicious, then you can kind of judge them based on that. Whereas like if you go in somewhere and they've got a pizza with like chopped giardiniera on it, like that might be delicious. But the giardiniera is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Whereas a good margarita pizza, like it's...
You really have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, like you just kind of have to make a good pizza. And I just love it so much.
No, that's legit, man. That's legit. Well, this has been Top of the Tops.
For your pizza!
Yes, Dave, we will get back to talking about our thrilling and busy lives next week. But for now, we're going to take a break. We are going to watch episode 7 of Denji Sentai Megaranger, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back. We have just finished watching episode 7. What's this? The Clingy, Bothersome Girl. Rules, actually.
Yeah.
We start off, Chisato.
Sorry, I felt like I should have said something there. It just did rule, though.
I mean, I just stated a fact and then we moved on. It didn't necessarily need more commentary. We start off and Chisato is at school at night, but not in the school. She's out in the courtyard. She has a telescope set up, and she has her digital camera plugged into the telescope. And Dave, I just had a thought, actually. Okay. So she is like the digital camera ranger, right? Like that is her superpower.
That is her thing.
And she has here a digital camera. Do you remember in the first episode when they had to like pull all of their electronics out of their backpacks
was that the thing that she had?
Did she have the camera and did Miku have the cell phone? Because Miku is the cell phone ranger?
I am pretty sure that Miku did in fact have a cell phone.
I mean,
now
Shun
this falls apart a little bit.
Shun did not have a digital television.
Yeah. I was going to say, we can't take this too far, but...
Still. Anyway, I do like that she is not just like that's not just the superpower she randomly got stuck with. She is a photographer.
Yeah, like that is her thing. So, and then Ko comes out, and it's like, oh, Chisato, Ko, Koichiro, sorry, like, what's going on? What are you doing here? And Koichiro, turns out, has been running like combat simulations.
Yeah. She says, are you here this late at school a lot? And he's like, oh yeah, I've just been running combat simulations on the computer club machines. So I guess he just has a key to the school or something?
It is, yeah, like, depending, it's actually, like, weirdly easy sometimes to get into schools.
Yeah, I guess so. There's, like, late-night extracurriculars, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what he's doing here. And they're hanging out, and they're talking. Chisato says, like, yeah, I'm here. I like to take photographs. Actually, my dream someday is to be a frontline journalist. So I guess she wants to be like a war correspondent photographer?
Well, there are other front lines, maybe it just means like out in the street getting the real action.
Maybe.
But yeah,
I took it to mean the front lines.
Well, yeah, I think you could, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, hey, she's a superhero. If she is not qualified to do it, I don't know who is.
So, there's like a little tender moment, right? They're friends. This is very nice. And they see a shooting star. How lovely. And then we just hear this voice shouting, Ko, Ko, Ko. And it's a girl's voice. And Chisato's like, what is going on? And Koichiro, man, it's very difficult to describe the face that Koichiro makes. But this dude has an extraordinarily expressive face.
He does.
And he is simultaneously like slightly annoyed, a little bit embarrassed, because what it turns out is, as I said, it's a girl's voice. It's a girl.
Yes.
And her name is Mishima.
And she arrives yelling at Koichiro for stepping out on her, essentially.
Yeah, effectively.
Like, how dare you be out here with some strange woman? Who is this? She's like luring you astray.
She is leading you astray. And she's not just like, oh, like, no. Like, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here as regards you two, but like, we're just friends. And Mishima is not hearing it. She's
like, no, I am his girlfriend. We are soulmates. He agreed, and now we are together forever.
Chisato, Koichiro, is continuing. Now, I would like to point out that she does call him Ko, which I have been doing just sort of inadvertently because it's in my notes.
Yes.
But I would like it to be noted that it is justifiable to call him Ko.
Well, okay.
Like that's an shortened version of his name.
She is specifically calling him Ko-chan because she is in love with this man.
Well, Matt, listen, I might be a little bit too. The heart wants what it wants.
Well, okay. Listen, I can't blame him. He's a very good Black Ranger.
So Koichiro is continuing to be super embarrassed by this.
Kind of hiding behind Chisato a little bit.
Yeah.
Chisato, by the way, is loving this.
I was going to say, she is eating this with a spoon. This is the greatest thing that has happened to her all week.
Mishima's like, she says, like, listen, like, this is not what you think it is. We're just friends. We happen to be at school together right now. Like, do not worry about me.
Like, we're both in the digital club.
I will not get in the way of your young love. And Mishima says, like, well, see that you don't mess with my man again, because if you do, the stars above may forgive you, but I will not.
I love, like, the intensity of declaration that comes out of the mouths of characters in Sentai shows. But They are suddenly, further drama is forestalled because there's a gigantic, like, electrical, it's not a lightning bolt. It is like a highly localized, super intense lightning storm. It blows a building clean in half.
Yes.
Weirdly,
Horizontally.
not down, like horizontally.
Yeah, like it hits it in
vertically.
the side, and then the top half just falls over.
Yeah. So this,
You know how
the
lightning
whole-
is famous for hitting buildings in the side?
right, and then cutting it in half like it's a anime ninja. So we go from there to Mega Base, and it's Dr. Kubota. And interestingly, I don't think Tall Steve is there. But Dr. Kubota says, another lightning strike. That's like 17 lightning strikes.
They're happening all over the globe.
Yeah, like it's targeting all these major cities. Obviously, something's going on. And he's got the Rangers on a call, and then we find out this is the next morning because like they're all there and it's daytime. And they're like, well, like obviously this is the Nezarite.
Right.
Like we don't know how because like we haven't picked up anything on radar.
Yeah, Kubota's like, I guess they're controlling the weather from space or something.
Like that's kind of, like he doesn't have any evidence for this. He's just sort of deducing. He's like, well, this is kind of the only option.
Right, like this is not how lightning works, so clearly it's the Nezarite.
Yeah. So they're like, well, if we can't find anything on radar, maybe it's a stealth craft of some sort. And Kenta, amazingly, has a moment of like intelligence and insight. And he says, well, even if it's a radar, like a stealth radar craft, we should still be able to just see it. Like it's not literally invisible.
Right. Which reminds Chisato, like, yes. Like, well, we don't see this right now. Right now we just see that she has a thought. But her thought is, like, last night, when lightning struck, I had my camera plugged into a telescope aiming at where it was happening.
Maybe there's something there. We get a quick thing. We're over in the Nezarite dimension, and Shibalina is like, yes, this experiment is working super well. Like, this is the great plan. Hinelar is really into it.
Ugande is not.
Rolls up. I love Ugande's problem with it. His problem with it is not that it's ineffective, but that it's like, it's just not, like, he's really into, like, Elephant Nezare and, like, Rhino Nezare. He's like, this plan, it seems to be effective, but it sucks and is lame. What we should do is just get a giant monster and tramp him down there, and he's just gonna, like, punch a whole bunch of stuff real hard. Like, that's awesome.
I do really like this, because we're in episode 7 now, right? Like, we have seen a few Shibalina episodes, this is now our second Shibalina episode, and we've gotten a few Ugande episodes. Right? And I really like that the two of them have very different approaches. Like, Ugande is like, let's send down the biggest guy that we have and have him literally push on a building until it falls over. Like, that's what we need to do. And Shivalina is like, no, I'm going to hypnotize all of these people and, like, use the computers to get into their brains to put together this secret plot.
Yeah, they do. It's very cool that they have very different vibes. BBDB, like, and then Hinelar's like, shut up, like, this is a great plan. BBDB rolls in, it's like, haha, like, you got told off, and then Ugande just reaches out and, like, backhands him across the room. BBDB, not Hinelar. Just, like, backhands him across the room.
Yes, in a moment where Ugande is channeling all of us.
Yeah. So, Dr. Hinelar says, this is why this is a great plan. He says, I know we're only targeting the major cities, but if we can target the major cities and destroy the metropolises, that'll, like, this will do it.
Right, we'll sort of, like, cut the knees out, or cut them down at the knees. So that'll be great.
Yeah, so then we jump back, and it's all of the Rangers, and they're in the Digital Research Club, and Shisato is like, oh, here's my pictures. And then she enhances, and enhances, and enhances. I do want to take a second here. I can't believe you've never said this. I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate Shun's hair.
Oh, Shun has straight up, like, 1980s drawn by Alan Davis hair.
It's amazing. It's just like, it's perfectly coiffed. it's always it's just like it's a great hairstyle, and it looks good on him, and it's just like a real intense anime style hairstyle. It looks very cool. We haven't mentioned it in the past.
Kenta, on the other hand, in the early episodes, Kenta's hair was like slicked back.
Yeah, it looked great. Now he's kind of...
Now, yeah, it's like, it's the same... Like, it kind of feels like he's, like... Listen, I've seen a lot of people's hair in the last couple of weeks to months, just sort of get a little too floofy and out of control, but they don't know what to do about it because they can't get it taken care of. That is kind of what Kenta's head is starting to look like. It's just this big puffball that he doesn't do anything to.
Yeah, he does. He looked a lot better with it slicked down. So anyways, they're looking at this picture and they say like, clearly, like they see something, a sort of like vague outline of a shape, but they can't quite make it out. And they say like, dude, that's super high up in the atmosphere. That's up in the Van Allen belt.
Right. And Chisato had did a little research previously, and she knows that there were not any, like she checked some satellite charts or whatever, to make sure that like there wasn't any like space junk floating by that she could have gotten a picture of. She knows that, if they're seeing something there, it's because it's the Nezare.
Yes. So they tell Dr. Kubota. Dr. Kubota says like, yeah, okay, like here's what we'll do. We'll split into two teams. One of you guys go check out the Space Center. Maybe they'll have photos, and then some of the other team, Kenta, Miku, and Shun, you guys ranger up and head up into space.
Right, but do be careful, because when you go to the space observatory station, like, had they seen something weird last night, they would have reported it in, and I would have heard about it. And that didn't.
And they didn't.
And that didn't happen. And we know that their cameras were probably pointed that way. And we know that something was there. So if they, like, he's like theorizes, if they didn't call it in, maybe they are being controlled.
Dude, this is one of the things. I'm very impressed with Megaranger, because I know we talk a lot about, like, hey, could you give me, like, the 5 seconds needed to create an explanation for this thing that, like, you should have thought about or would have made sense? And I feel like Megaranger is doing a great job with little things like this. Be like, hold up, dude. How would this Space Center not notice it?
Right.
And Dr. Kubota's like, oh, no. Like, here's what's going on, and be prepared because this might be the case. And I just like, that's really, like, the writing in the show is very tight.
Yeah, and it goes a long way towards making the world of the show feel more lived in. You know, like, definitely. In a way that in a series like Car Ranger, you don't get much of, because it's so, like, set up punchline. This feels more like a world where these characters are living. Yeah,
I think that's a very good way to say that.
I like Car Ranger. That is not like a dig on Car Ranger. It's just a different style.
It's just a different show. So Chisato and Koichiro are going to go off and check out the Space Center, and Chisato's like, yes. Like, she's practically jumping up and down with glee at the opportunity to mess with Koichiro more about this.
Oh, and before they split up...
yeah.
There was a bit where Kenta says... weird, like... Okay, we said that there was a lot of, like, good writing. This is just, like, a weird thing they threw in that is not necessarily reflective of our previous praise. I think they just needed a way to bring up Mishima again. And so Kenta says, well, if this Nezare comes back, the stars above may forgive them, but I will not. And that reminds Chisato, like, oh, right, I need to be teasing my friend about this girl.
Like, just mercilessly. And they're like, and then so she says something, and the rest of the Rangers are like, wait, what now? What? Just go have a girlfriend? Like, this is the most amazing thing we've ever heard. Like, let us, please.
There's a moment where Koichiro is running away, and Chisato is like, Ko-chan, come back. Mocking her, like pretending to be Mishima in that moment. But Miku is like, wait a second. Are you in love with Koichiro? Which you know has got to disappoint her, because just last episode, we know that Miku wants to be dating Chisato.
Yeah. So we go from there. It's a quick shot. Kenta, Miku, and Shun in space. They're like, dude. And they're still they're still dishing on this hot goss, which is amazing. They're like, dude, is this possible that like Ko has a girlfriend?
Kenta and
like,
Miku are. Shun is telling them to shut up and get serious about this job. Because of course he is.
So there's a huge bolt of lightning, and they're like, that is definitely not, there's no lightning in space.
That's not how lightning do.
That's not how lightning go. That is an Ezra.
Okay.
So we go back down.
Back on Earth, Koichiro and Chisato are walking to the space station. And Chisato's like, listen, just tell me what is going on with this girl.
And she's like, listen. Or Koichiro's like, I am... He's like, listen, man, I really am not totally sure. And I'm very perturbed by this situation. He's like, we're not dating. Here's what's going on. And we get a flashback. And what it is that Mishima saw that his jacket was like missing a button or something. And she's sewing it on. And then Kuchu walks into the room and she says, hey, I fixed your jacket. And Kuchu's like, oh, cool, thanks. And she says, you're a great guy and like you're good at school and I really look up to you. Would you see me again? And Koichiru's like, yeah, sure, of course, like no problem. And then she like runs to the window and yells to the world like, Koichiro is mine. We'll be together forever. Like this is the greatest day of my entire life. And then we flash back and Koichiro's like, that's it. He's like, I thought she wanted to study.
Yeah, like she needed help with her homework, like, and all she wants to do is go shopping and just like goof around. And Chisato's like, you idiot. Like, what is wrong with you? A, I can't believe you didn't like see what was happening, which is not entirely fair. And B, like, I don't know, man. Mishima's cute. Why don't like she clearly she's clearly into you. She thinks you're already dating. She is cute. Why don't you just date her?
Kuchi's like, man, I'm a superhero. I'm trying to get good grades. Like, I don't have time for this.
I gotta be running all my battle simulations all night.
Like, it takes a long time. And then astonishingly, Mishima just shows up. And,
it's especially bad because just before she shows up, Chisato grabs Ko by the arm and is like, listen, Koichiro, like, here's my brilliant plan. We're going to get into this space station. I'm going to hold your arm and pretend that we're dating. And if we're a couple, then they're bound to, like, let us in and believe our ridiculous lies.
Yeah, like that it's, like this will be believable.
Right. It is
at least
not a complete thought, but it does set up, like, putting them in a compromising position for when Mishima comes out of the corner, like, on an abandoned road in the woods outside of the space station.
Yeah, and she's like, you're being led astray again. And Koichiro's just like, just run, just go, like, we need to get out of here. So they run, and then she's chasing them. We go back to the Nezare dimension. Shibalina's enjoying a nice glass of wine.
The reddest wine you've ever seen.
Well, it would be the reddest wine you've ever seen unless you also watched Jetman.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's the same vintage gray drinks.
Yeah, guys, you know how red wine isn't actually red? This is just straight up fruit punch in a wine glass.
So, you guys like,
maybe it is fruit punch in a wine glass.
No, that makes sense. So you guys like, what are you doing? Like, we need to destroy the Earth, and you're chilling out having a glass of Cabernet. And Shibalina's like, no, it's fine. Things are taken care of. B Nezare is the plan is in motion. It is foolproof. This is an amazing, like, we're good.
Cut back down to the space station. Koichiro and Chisato walk in, are immediately confronted by a scientist who wants to know why they're there.
It's, by the way, a scientist who's, like, very clearly, like, on his creep. Like, something is going on with this dude, very obviously.
Right, like, they did not give him, like, evil brainwashed eye makeup, but they might as well have.
So, Chisatsu's like, oh, sorry, like, we're on a date and we were looking for the planetarium, which is it's the worst excuse. All she got as far as, like, on a date, here's another space-oriented thing. But, like...
The scientist is like,
I will tell you.
Well, this is clearly not the planetarium. You're not allowed to be in here. You have to leave immediately.
And then he only gets as far as just, like, pushing them out the nearest door and then just kind of returns to whatever it was he was doing. And I will tell you, as it happens, our dad used to work for NASA. And every once in a while, we have to go, like, pick him up. Like, when I got my driver's license, I would have to go. And, like... It's a government facility. There's security.
Right.
You cannot just, like, if I was just, like, wandering around. Now, actually, I guess it would depend on the size of the installation, because I think if you were just wandering around, well, if you were clearly a high school student, people would have questions. Anyways, this is a terrible excuse. It doesn't work at all.
But, like, there was a gate with a guard.
Yeah, so...
Which, to be fair to Megaranger, in the first episode at the other space station, that was very much more like the setup that I'm used to.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, obviously we're not really going to leave. And so they kind of sneak around, and as they're walking past one of the buildings, they hear this weird voice, and it says, things are going well, the Rangers have no idea, and they're like, ooh, that clearly is something that we're interested in. So we go and, like, Koichiro, like, gets down on all fours, and Chisato sort of, like, stands up on his back, and she peeks in the window. Now, I'm going to say something that is going to seem weird that I'm pointing it out now, but as the camera is panning by, like, her skirt flies up, and you do see a shot of her underwear. Normally, I would not mention this, but it will become relevant in a moment. Chisato looks in the window, and she sees, like, a hologram of Shibolena.
And Shibolena is in there like, hey, what is up? My enthralled dudes. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Yeah. And so they start explaining something, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's Shibolena. And then Koichiro sort of, like, turns around and starts to say something to her, and then he immediately flips his head back around. He's like, oh, I was not peeking. And here's why, like, this is a weird moment to me, because he feels the need to specify, like, oh, I wasn't looking up your skirt, which, like, great job, Koichiro. Like, that is what you have done the right thing. You should not do that. But, like, apparently it's okay for us, like, the viewing audience.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, listen, it was, I don't think it was shot in a way that was especially, like, it was not a creep shot. It was just a camera angle to let you know that a creep shot could have been possible.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like it was supposed to be a creep shot. It was just weird to me that it was like, there was definitely like a panty shot, and then Koichiro was like, oh, I wasn't looking at your panties. But like, well, the whole viewing audience of Power Rangers just did. So, or Megaranger. Anyways, here's where we get the plan. Here's what's actually going on. The Space Center.
Here is the halfway point of the episode. We are running very long this week.
Yeah. So there's an attack network using the satellites that, like, the space station is, the Space Center is connected to, and it's like there's they're using satellites to do super lightning attacks. This whole plan is very weird, and also I have no idea why it's a bee Nezare. Like, it could have been Electric Eel Nezare because it's lightning attacks. It could have been some sort of stealth animal because it's, like, hidden somehow. But they're like, no, man, we're just going to go with bees.
I mean, okay, here's the thing, though. Bee Nezare looks amazing.
Dude, Bee Nezare is super, super... Bee Nezare has one of maybe top 10 costume designs in Sentai that I've ever seen. Bee Nezare looks extraordinarily cool.
I think last week I was telling you, like, the monsters are going to get good soon, and I was specifically thinking about Bee Nezare. So they have created a network using all of the various space stations, and how it's going to work is that Bee Nezare can, like, generate these huge electricity storms. And once this whole network is created, Bean Ezra will just like zap once into the network, and it will strike at all of the locations at the same time, therefore like crippling the planet.
Yes. Which that's a very good plan.
Again, Shibolino plans are good.
Yeah. So they're like, and also it'll be ready to go in 10 minutes. Great timeline. And then Mishima just shows up, like just walks into the lab.
Right.
And is like, hey, have any of you adults seen my Ko-chan? And they're like, no, we haven't. Also get her. And Mishima's like, oh no.
So she runs outside and immediately bumps into the Kune, the purple twisty up faced putties.
The putties. Yeah.
And she faints immediately.
Yeah, immediately. It's great. And there's a little bit of human fighting as Kuchuru and Shibolina and Chisato intervene. And they're like, oh, actually, this is great. Like, she's passed out. She's not going to notice. Like, time for henshin. So they henshin, and then they fight a little bit more. And then when they get some space, Mega Yellow's like, okay, like, take her to where she can be safe, and then I'll keep fighting. And Kuchuru's like, I don't even know where she lives. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And Chisato's like, like, take her to the hospital, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a big building where you take people who aren't doing well. Just go there.
So, this next part is like, there's, we're running super long, but there's like, it's just a very dense episode. So, Mega Yellow is like, she calls her Cyber Slider. She radios the other Rangers. She's like, listen, I know you're kind of firing blind, but just like shoot into this spot. Or go to this spot. Like, this is where this dude is going to be.
Yeah, go to SA.
They all get on their Cyber Sliders. Yeah, they all get on their Cyber Sliders.
Can I?
They go there.
Aside with the
they
Cyber
get blasted
Sliders
by lightning. The what now?
A brief aside with the Cyber Sliders is that they summon them by pressing 259 on a keypad. And it's the same voice as when they hit 335 on their digitizers.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, I don't know if there are other possible number combinations, but now we know there are at least 2.
Yeah. So basically, like, they get blasted with lightning, and then Mega Black shows up, but the bee is still invisible, and he's like, we don't have time for this. Mega Pink, use Pink Mega Capture. And she does that, and then that somehow she fires into the exact right spot, and then he becomes visible.
Well, Mega Capture is a like a little radar gun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was thinking of it as like a satellite dish, but your thing makes more sense.
Well, no, the satellite power, again, as we said last week, satellites and cameras and cell phones with
and digital TVs,
like they all kind of do the same thing.
So they do, and they blast him, and then they all pull out their blasters, and they do final shoot, and they blast him. And I'm like, oh, rad. They put him up in space so they can do, like, the final giant battle in space. Nah, dude just tumbles to Earth and survives re-entry, and then they fight him on the ground, which I think is very dumb. Like, I would really like to have, I don't know if it's expensive to shoot or something, I would love to have more Galaxy Mega fights up in space.
Would be very cool. So he survives a re-entry. They come down. They hit him with a move they call Digital Combination, which again,
it's extremely disappointing.
I really thought they were going to combine their weapons, but they don't. It's not.
They just all hit him in a row.
Yeah, it's like a fighting game combo where you hit people a bunch of, which I guess makes sense because they're fighting game characters. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but it was a very disappointing
Anyway,
game.
he explodes
but you know who
a
has,
lot.
Well, hold up. You know who has a very good attack before they actually hit him with Digital Combination is B. Nezare. B. Nezare has an extremely cool attack, which is he just shoots like 1,000,000 robot bees out of his arm.
Yes, and now that we're into like the late 90s, we're getting into the era of like early bad CGI.
But it's like a swarm, so it's a little bit more
convincing.
convincing.
It's a swarm,
it's
and they're
super
small,
cool.
and they're robot bees. They don't have to look that realistic. When I saw it, I was delighted.
Yeah, so would you say you were bee-lighted? You would not. So So they blast him and he goes down and then he gets infected with like the giantizing virus. And I want to point something out.
I was going to say, there definitely needs to be an aside here when he is grown by BBDB, giving him that evil virus, giving him that Grosjean virus.
Yeah, because what happens is that he screams as though he's in horrible pain.
Well, because also the way that BBDB like makes them grow is that he infects them with a terrible virus. And the way he does it is by like jumping on them and biting them. So whatever Dr. Hinelar did to BBDB, it's like BBDB is a carrier vector for this virus that is passed along by him biting the dying bodies of Nezare beasts. It's gnarly.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like becoming a giant is like a pleasant experience.
And you know what? Again, that's another point for Megaranger, which is that, like, you know, in other shows, you don't always know why the characters don't go giant to begin with. Now, you know.
Yeah, it sucks real bad. So they summon Galaxy Mega. We do see a new weapon. We see a new weapon, which is the booster rifle, which is pretty neat. And aside from that, the fight is not terribly interesting, except that the shield is proving to be a way more consistent part of Galaxy Mega's arsenal than I anticipated it being. Like, it's in play a lot, and I think that's very cool.
Yeah. So that's it. They kill B. Nezare. Sorry, B. Nezare. You were very cool, but now you are dead. And exploded twice.
Yep. And that's pretty much it. We have our final scene, and it's Kuichiro and Mishima. And Kuichiro's like, listen, they're like a fountain, and the Rangers are creeping. They're like, what's going on? They're like, shut up, I'm trying to hear.
Very similar to the end of the previous episode.
Yeah. I really love the fact that they are both superheroes and like deeply involved in like the gossip of each other's lives. So Koichiro says like, listen, Mishima, like, you're super nice, but like, I really just like don't have time, and like, I'm not interested in dating right now. And she says, oh, like, that's totally cool. I was actually about to dump you anyways. I found somebody new. He's the new love of my life.
And
don't worry.
I so thought in this moment that she was going to say, Mega Black, I am in love with the superhero
I really
who
did
saved
too.
me. No, turns out
it's
it's
not.
Taki, just some guy with a cool car.
Yeah, and that's it. And then she's like, don't worry, Kuchiro, you'll find love someday. And then Kuchiro pulls like another great expression, and he's both like relieved and also confused and also like questioning whether or not he's actually a little bit sad about this.
Right. Like, I don't think that he's sad that he is out of this situation, but like the knowledge that she could drop him so easily is certainly a blow.
Yeah. To perhaps to his.
So
ego.
the other four walk over and they're like, oh man, sorry, bud. Gosh, you really need help with the ladies, don't you? Let me be your coach. Chisato says like, listen, I'll take you out for ice cream to mend your broken heart.
And Koichiro's like, no, excuse me, I am fine. And they're like, no. Your heart is broken. We can see it like beneath your stony exterior.
Very good. Very good episode, Dave. That is the end of that episode. But of course, it is not yet the end of this episode. Because first, we need to determine where B. Nezare lands in the Creature Royale.
Okay, so as I mentioned, the plan that he's part of is pretty good. He doesn't really have any personality to speak of.
That is true.
But he looks so cool. He looks like a B Transformer superhero.
Yeah, he looks like a bad guy from Mega Man X.
Yes, yeah. His right arm is like a beehive.
It's like a beehive
like
buster cannon.
Beehive. Yeah, but like a Gatling gun because it's got like a bunch of holes in it. Like, just like go check out B. Nezare. He's extremely cool looking.
Right. So he can turn invisible in space. He can shoot lightning blasts that knock buildings over. He's got swarms of bees he can shoot at you. Oh, he can mind control you by attaching a robot bee to like the back of your neck behind your ear. We saw that very briefly.
So, Yeah, so I feel like a good place to start, Matt, is Kame-Itachi the Sickle Weasel. He's at slot number 61, because he also has like a mind control like thing going on.
Yeah. Now, his mind control thing was a less effective plan, but it was a lot more creepy, because he was using
it was very interesting.
juice boxes to turn school children into demons.
Yeah, but like, okay, and again, I really cannot overstate how cool B. Nezare looks. He looks way cooler than Kame-Itachi.
Absolutely.
And the plan that he's part of is very effective. And I feel like we're going to get a lot of this. It's feeling to me like this is going to be a season with very strong lieutenants that are like doing a lot of the stuff, and that the monsters are going to be kind of like, like executing plans.
Yeah. Well, you know who is sort of similar in that, like, it was a plan of the lieutenant. Actually, okay, so number 70, Ant Bazooka. It's a few spots below Kame-Itachi the Sickle Weasel. Ant Bazooka, he turned people into ant people. And
yes,
then
that's extremely
and then
creepy.
those ant people, like, ate a herd of cows. So that was really bad. And he was another like bug dude with a gun arm. B. Nezare looks way cooler than him. I will say that. And frankly,
he does.
Is probably, I think B. Nezare is cooler.
Yeah, okay, I would say that.
Again, the thing that Ant Bazooka did was scarier, but the actual monster was not as cool as B. Nezare.
Okay, so I would say, does he go as high as... I think I like him better than BB Donpa, too. But I don't think he's as good as Barra Fawcett. Barra Fawcett's amazing.
Barra Fawcett is very good.
So I would say just below Barra Fawcett at the new slot number 69.
Very nice. Okay, now that is going to do it for another episode of The Spy Who Loved Megaranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things that we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Rate, review, subscribe on there, tell a friend. Just get the word out, man. Tell them about our new opening segment, Top of the Tops. Can't beat it. It's the tops. The tops of them. Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. If you'd like to listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can do it all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.